And we're live.
Hello, SHL. It's Rich and Adam again
Here we
for
are.
2029, right?
29. We're coming up on
'Cause-
the big 3-0.
yeah, it's pretty.
That's
It's
the
pretty
one where
good.
they legally let you drink, right? That's the one. Did we
Is that
already
how
do
that
that?
works?
I think in some. No, just look, man. I didn't have anything funnier to say about 30.
Okay, that's fair. There isn't really much funny to say about it.
No,
So
it's like you're out of your 20s now, and you got to actually think about settling
God
down and shit.
damn, did you hear that?
I did hear that. What was that?
I don't know what's happening upstairs, but there's something going on. All right.
Ghosts, probably.
Yeah.
It's that time of year.
Some.
Um, we have questions to talk about this week from a few
Oh
people,
yeah.
and I think was it Izzy asked one that was fairly involved.
No.
Yeah,
Wait,
Izzy
did
asked
you ask
one.
one before I posted? Oh,
Yes,
I
he
totally
totally
forgot
did.
about that. Oh crap. I didn't look at that, so I have no idea what it is.
I'm looking out for he is. He asked about digital media, but we'll talk about that because that's like worth talking about. That's pretty cool shit.
Oh yeah, I do remember thinking about this. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So do you want to just hop right into questions then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Cool. So we're starting with everybody's boy, Mike Izzy, everybody's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I love him to bits. He says, "Hi, Rich and Adam. Hey, Izzy. Um, he says, with Coach Steelhead unveiling the league's first digital media section in the Calgary Sub Forum and the release of the Dragons' second team video titled The Building of the Big Parm, has Calgary changed the game?
Hmm.
On media, presumably.
Yeah. I didn't watch it or
It was a
really
pretty good.
read any of it.
It was a pretty like the whole thing was pretty good. The video was excellent. There were a lot of like goofy little edits that made it super fun to watch.
Okay. I did watch Zach's thing. His little tribute thing he did.
I have not seen it yet.
It was basically just like a little highlight reel kind of thing. And then he also cut in Argar's thing where the Jets won the cup.
Yes.
So I watched that, but yeah, I don't know. Change the game? I don't know. I guess it probably depends on like how much value people get out of it in terms of like media payout, probably. Um, because I think it'll probably be the biggest factor in whether or not people continue to do that kind of stuff.
Well, I can confirm that we're changing the grading scale for stuff like video editing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, there really wasn't much of a scale to
there
begin
was
with.
none, but we're
I
putting.
thought there was like a
together
thing, like a minutes, like it was based just on length, right?
it was. I don't remember, but I know that
I
what
think
we had in place was not very good. It
right. And I
really
think it
didn't
was in the
reward anything.
graphics section too. It wasn't.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like
you're right. I believe it wasn't graphics. It didn't belong there. We're fixing it. We're fixing it because those videos take a shitload of work to get through. Yeah, I don't know. Changing the game's big. People have been. I mean, Argar's been doing digital media, if you count the tribute shit, for seasons now.
yeah,
So I don't know if changed the game as much as maybe brought it to attention, maybe further brought to attention the worth
I think
of that sort of
yeah,
work.
it won't do a whole lot until we find stuff that like people really get engaged with, and I don't know that most videos will do that. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, it's tough because the one universal truth I've found about the SHL is that nobody really gives a shit about media.
Yeah,
Not that nobody cares about media, but like
right. It's not like it's not most people's focus.
no, most people aren't gonna read media. Most people aren't gonna watch media. It's fun to make for you and the people you're making it for, but media kind of exists as a moneymaker on this site.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
basically outside of that, not much else.
Yeah, and I think also with the way the kind of community dynamics changed with the Discord,
Yes, absolutely.
also takes some attention away from it.
There's just less time spent on forum with
Mhm.
Discord existing. I can't speak to what it was like before I joined because when I joined, I think it was like early seasons of using Discord pretty heavily.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it wasn't crazy different, but there's I don't know, it was definitely different.
it's yeah. I don't changing the game is a really big phrase way to phrase it. I don't know if doing digital media the way Calgary is doing it is changing the game, but I do think that Calgary is doing work to bring to light an issue. Not that guys like Arkar and people who have made video shit before weren't trying to do that, but say what you will about Calgary, for better or for worse, they got a lot of loud voices, and when all of those voices,
Oh, you mean Slappy and Izzy, right?
yeah. They have two loud voices, and they're very loud, and they get things done when they want to get things done. I mean, Izzy approached me about, the scale for paying for videos, and I told him I agree. I mean, I totally agree. Videos are not rewarded for the effort that they should be worth. I don't know if Calgary's changing the game, but I do think what Calgary's doing is going to be good for digital media going forward. I think that Calgary is getting done what was maybe procrastinated a bit, maybe put off a little bit by previous head office organizations, and maybe just not really acknowledged by the media team as closely as it should be. And I think Calgary is going to be considered the catalyst for the big change coming for the system, which I guess is changing the game in a way, but Calgary's not doing anything new with the way they're doing digital media. Videos and video editing have been a thing before, but I think Calgary's changing the landscape, not necessarily the game.
Yeah, be interesting to see if like anybody else cares to kind of join in, or if it's just kind of like a little thing that happens every once in a while with, I don't know. We'll see. See what happens.
It would be cool to see more video stuff, but it is a lot of effort. And not to indict most of the SHL, but a lot of people can't be bothered to put in the hour it takes to write a media article, let alone the hours it takes to edit a video.
Yeah.
I would love to see more video shit. I think that would be fucking awesome. But I don't know if it's a guarantee even when we do these changes.
Yeah, I probably won't. I don't know. The shorter ones I'll probably watch. Like that's why I saw Zach's was presumably going to be very short, so I just checked that out. But I've already feel like I consume enough SHL media with just the podcasts.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know that.
Yeah. No, the podcasts make up a lot of my media consumption from the site. I used to do, like, my first few seasons on the site, I did articles like crazy, but that's because I'm a writer. But then you run out of things to write about.
Yeah, I have a problem with, like, I don't read sports media at all, so I don't really know what people write about, and so I had trouble with, like, inspiration or things to write. I don't even know what's interesting.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of sports. I listen to a lot of sports media, right? So I listen to sports podcasts, and I listen to fucking ESPN shows on daytime fucking television and shit. So more often than not, my media was just kind of like a written fucking transcription of like what a show would be like talking about the SHL. But I would love to see more video based stuff, but I don't know that it's a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
He also asks in this question, what are your overall thoughts on the new digital wave, which I think we did kind of address.
Yeah, more or less.
Small, medium, big deal. We won't know until a few months down the line now.
Yeah, my hunch is it'll be kind of a small thing. Because I don't think we're gonna see a lot of people doing it. Even regardless of the payout, it is a lot of work, and it's especially if I've done a very small amount of like really super ultra amateur video editing, and it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I'm about to admit to this live on air, so don't tell the cops. Don't rat on the Fed. Don't rat me out to the feds. Someone fucking sent me a copy of Final Cut Pro, so I'm probably gonna actually just edit this video a little bit and put some music on and stuff. But yeah, video editing's not easy.
I think I used the Sony. Was it Sony Vegas? Is that
probably right?
Yeah, that sounds. I'm pretty sure that's what it was using.
It's a powerful video editor for what it is. Depending on even like the lower tier Vegas stuff is still super powerful for its price point. Fucking Final Cut Pro is expensive as shit, but I got those college connections, baby.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's video editing is a lot of work, especially if you're putting in real serious hours to make something look professional. It's a lot of work. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if it takes off at all. it's a lot of work for people to put in, especially if they don't know what they're doing going in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be a big deal, medium deal, small deal. I don't think we're going to know until a few months down the line when we see how many people are actually doing it.
Yep.
And
I agree.
last question from Izzy. And if it does take off, will this make Izzy the godfather of SHL digital media?
No.
No. That's still Argar to me.
Actually,
That's
and this is obviously way before this was even considered, I guess, the payment. But I do remember, I think it was Diener put out some like Texas Renegades highlight thingies. Oh well, this is quite a long time ago. This would have been probably S20s, like late S20s time. I'm thinking. So it's not like it's totally like a brand new thing. But yeah, no.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that one, man. Um, I think this wave will be interesting, but I don't know if Izzy. I don't know if you're the godfather of it, man. It's tough to pinpoint. People have been doing digital media for a while. Nonetheless, appreciate the questions. Is moving
Oh yes.
forward, there's a fucking again. This rich guy shows up in this fucking thread every week and never asks anything.
What a troll.
I can't believe he still fucking does this. I think we got Argar. Argar's the next set of questions, and these are completely un SHL related. So
Yeah.
let's like I could. Some of these are really good. Uh, Opening question: have either of you seen a musical lately?
I had to think really hard about this to figure out when the last time I saw a musical was, and the last one I can remember seeing is, and this would have been like a musical movie.
Yeah.
I haven't. Um, is the producers when they like redid it in the like mid two
Oh yeah yeah
thousands.
yeah yeah.
That's the last one I remember. I honestly I probably have seen one since then, but
Did
I
you
can't
like
remember.
did you watch any like the TV musicals that they've been doing like the past 5 years? Like
No,
I mean they just did Rent. That's why I'm asking. But like
no,
that's fair. Um, yeah, I saw Rent when it premiered live on Fox. It was pretty good. I liked it. It
that was
was
pretty
like,
recent.
yeah, it was like last weekend, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like, it was pretty good. Um, it's always tough to pull Rent off, but it was
Sorry,
good.
they're still doing shit upstairs. You can
That's
keep
fair.
hearing that. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I know it's fine. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was what I expected it to be. Um,
I think I've seen part of like I don't know if they did a Rent movie at some point or something. I feel like I've seen like part of it because I'm familiar with like the concept, and I remember this.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
I'm sure it's been done a bunch of times, but I feel like I've seen it or some of it at
it's
some
been all
point.
over. I mean, it's been all over. It's
Yeah,
based on like it's like a bunch of artists living in the East Village, and it's like about AIDS
yeah, yeah.
and gay people. And it's really good. I like it a lot, at least. It's based on like a traditional. I mean, I should say based. I mean, very very loosely based on La Boheme, which is a
Hmm.
old Italian opera. Um, yeah, I saw that this weekend. Last weekend, it was all right.
Huh,
Um,
interesting.
do either of you guys like musicals and plays? I do.
They're fine. I mean, it's not something I'll like go out of my way to see, but not
Yeah,
out
no,
of verse, I guess. Or not like yeah.
I'll do it. Like if it's a show I'm interested in, but it's not like a. I don't go out of my way to go to musicals and plays like I go out of my way to listen to music.
Yeah. Oh, and he says the favorite you've been to.
Yeah,
Dude, I can't. Again, I can't. I don't even know.
that's fair.
I'm sure I've been to some, but it would have been a long time ago, more than probably 15 years ago.
Yeah, um, I went and saw Wicked like 7 years ago, and I remember Wicked being pretty good.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a big one for quite a long time. Huh?
It's a pretty safe pick.
I really would have liked to have seen Book of Mormon.
Yes, I heard nothing but good things about Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
It just like was always super expensive when it came to town.
Yeah. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a less safe show. I haven't seen West Side Story live, but I'd love West Side Story. Um, I don't know. Musicals are all right.
Yeah.
There was a fucking. Now I'm thinking of a movie. What the hell was it called? It was like. It was like from the mid thousands. It was the dude that produced like the first 4 Saw movies.
Hmm.
It was a musical about. Fuck. It was like in the future, and like you can get you can like rent new organs.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Is this
Fuck, what was it called?
Yeah, is that like Repo or something? Is that what
Repo,
it's
the
called?
genetic opera. That's what it's
Yes,
called,
yes.
man. That
I've
movie's
never seen it,
horrible.
but I think I remember seeing like the cover art for it or
Yeah, it's
something.
got it's all
Like
Russian
a
for some reason.
Yeah, it's like a robot-y looking guy maybe, or he's
Yeah,
wearing some kind of suit or something.
yeah, it's got Alexa Vega in it. That is a fucking terrible movie, but it's like it's a guilty pleasure. Like
Okay.
it's super goofy. Like there's a great, like, if you want to. I mean, it gets a little bit gory because it's literally about repossessing organs, but
Hmm.
and it's one of the guys that produced Saw, so it gets a little bit bloody. But like that movie is so goofy. It's so goofy. I will never ever not recommend Repo to people who want a good laugh. It's one of the worst things
Nice.
I've ever seen. But it's like it's almost like they knew, you know? It's
Right.
almost like they knew how bad what they were doing was going to turn out to be, and they just ham it up so much.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're gonna do it, you got to lean into it.
It like the director and the producer. I am 110% confident that the directors and the producers believed in this project. But I am also 110% confident that everyone involved in the acting side of this read the script, thought it was a joke, and decided to just dick around for the whole shoot. It's such a mess of a movie, but like if you have a few hours free and like some beer to drink or anything to drink at all, and you've got like at least a little bit of a tolerance for blood, fuck, sit down, get drunk, and watch Repo the Genetic Opera. There's my recommendation for a musical. And then after that, go watch Mamma Mia because it's a classic.
Nice.
Um, Speaking of theater, have either of you done plays before? You done any acting, Rich?
Nope, none at all.
None at
Really.
all.
Maybe like elementary school kind of thing. That's probably it.
I I did like, high school. I was in theater for like 3 years.
Okay.
And like it was a fucking awesome experience. Also, it like damn near drove me to like it spiraled me down real bad, real dark, because just it was like shitty director, shitty program director,
Uh,
shitty producers. Like
well, that's. I guess I don't know. I always thought theater people always seemed really cool. And kind of wish I had probably, but I was always very afraid of that kind of thing, like having to perform in front of people.
it's
Terrifying.
once you get used to it, it's fine, right?
Yeah,
Like
I'm
once
sure
you
it's
get
like
used to it.
yeah, it's this. I mean, it's like probably especially when you do it like it immediately. You pretty much have to be over it immediately, otherwise you're
Yes,
just,
otherwise you're done. It's over.
yeah.
I'll take this opportunity to tell a great story I haven't told you, and now the entire 6 people that listen will know too. When I was a sophomore in high school, we did a show. I can't remember the name of it, but like I wound up. You know me, Rich. You know how I am. You know my personality. There's a character in that play that is just sardonic, sarcastic, cynical, fucking dickhead piece of shit that runs the hotel in this play. And I was like, hell yeah, that's me, baby. That's me. I'm cynical and I'm a dipshit that hates everybody. That's me.
Perfect.
And I wound up getting cast as the other male lead who was supposed to be a very, for lack of a better word, pathetic, kind of submissive, optimist, whatever have you. But there's the whole like half of like the main plot is like the girl playing my wife would keep catching me in very damning situations with one of the girls that worked at the hotel, and we'd practiced this during rehearsals. There's a scene towards the end of Act 1 where I'm supposed to think the girl from the hotel is my wife and, give her a hug from behind, and then my wife slaps me. And we originally wanted to do it with some sort of effect off side stage. But you know me, I'm no fucking pussy, Richard.
Great.
I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it. And it sucks getting hit in the face. Opening night, we get to that scene, and it's like that is it. The slap happens, then she storms off, and we go to intermission, and we get to it, and I do the thing, and she walks up, and she hits me, and it just cracks. It reverberates through the whole fucking auditorium. And the two reactions that stuck out to me were a bunch of my buddies who came to see the show told me afterwards, they went, we heard the sound of her hand hitting your face, and we thought they played a sound effect through the speaker system. It was so loud. And one of my best friends, who was working stage manager, says to me, I saw that happen. I heard that sound. And she goes, I looked at the person next to me, who was some freshman working whatever, and I said, go get some ice now. Halfway through intermission, we find out she hit me so hard, she popped blood vessels in my face. And left a massive handprint on my cheek.
Oh boy.
And that is one of the most memorable moments of my life.
Yeah. That would do it.
It was so loud. I fucking couldn't feel anything. Just a ringing in my ear. It was so loud. So don't go into theater.
Just for that reason?
Don't go into theater if you're like me and incredibly stubborn. Because learn from my mistake, just use the sound effect.
Well, I'm sure it was very convincing.
It was
in the audience. Yeah.
It was convincing. So yes, I've been in plays before.
Yeah.
And of course, since we're talking about like cheating on your wife, let's go to Argar's next question, since this is a hot button issue in the SHL. Tits or ass?
Oh yeah, I think he was talking about this on his, not the one that's out now, but the one before, right?
Yeah, I remember this. I don't know how to answer this, man. I'm not.
Yeah.
We're doing facts tonight. I'm asexual, so I don't really think about this sort of shit. So I don't even know how to answer this.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know how to answer this. Like you've done it, Argar. You've floored me. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say either. I'm not the most comfortable talking about this kind of stuff. So
I'm not. It's like, can I say eyes? Is that an appropriate response? Can I say eyes? I like pretty eyes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't. This is like, I appreciate that people can ask this question. I just don't know how to answer it.
Yeah.
It's not like, I just don't think about it, man.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not heavily on my mind, but yeah. I don't know. I'll say. If I had to answer, it would be asked by a slight margin, I suppose. But I'm not going to elaborate or.
Good man. Good man.
There you go.
Good man. Thanks for that, Argar. Thanks for all the experiences that just got let out onto a microphone there, Argar.
Yeah, and
fuck.
For that, I hope you get drafted by Minnesota.
Yep, me too. Now, what's worse than Minnesota? Is there a place worse for him?
Well, it's just, I mean, I honestly think well, okay, maybe Buffalo, but I think he'd probably be, for the most part, fine anywhere. I don't think necessarily he would actually legitimately dislike going to Minnesota. But if I was in his position, I think if I got drafted by Minnesota, I'd be a little bit disappointed. Like, oh, I spent 4 years in Minnesota, and now I'm back. Oh, I was kind of hoping to experience something new. But anyway, I don't actually hope you go to Minnesota, Argar. I hope we get to experience a new locker room. But Luke's next.
Great.
And Luke has unleashed a monstrosity on the SHL.
Luke has fucking ruined this website. I will not rest until I have completely persecuted him off this fucking website for this.
I've only gotten a small taste of the pingy bot, and we actually, let's see, I had it in one channel that I just muted, so I really don't even honestly know what it does entirely.
I know what it does, and I hate it, and I don't want to give it attention. I don't want people to know about this.
I'm reading some of its interactions right now. Wow. Okay.
They somehow got this put on the fucking Reddit hockey Discord. I had to deal with that. I'm a mod over there. I had to deal with that. I had to get into the mod chat of the Reddit hockey Discord and say, who the fuck approved this?
That's pretty funny. Especially since I'm sure most of the people there have no idea what it is.
Oh no, Pingy's been in fucking.
Is he there?
Pingy's been in the Reddit hockey Discord longer than he's been on the SHL.
Oh, okay. I figured it'd be too little too inside, but he behaves the same way over there.
Yes.
What? I figured this was like just a thing he was doing for attention, kind of. No, that's just it always.
This is, as long as I have known Pingy, this is how Pingy has acted.
Oh Jesus! That kind of,
man, I should have made
changes it for me a bit.
Yeah, you starting to see where I'm coming from here.
Yeah, this is actually horrible. Because I assumed it was just like a little thing he was doing for attention, and that that's fine, I guess. But if it's like a constant thing, it's been going on for a long time. It's just how he acts always, then it's horrible.
I wish I remembered how to activate the bot. We have a bot on the server, on the Reddit hockey server, that we just kind of put images in and make macros and shit. But if you type like Pingy or like Pingu in Reddit hockey Discord, you'll get like this image of just him saying "who pinged me," but super artifacted.
Weird. Oh boy.
Now it's just a penguin for some reason.
Oh.
That's a waste. Yeah, so PingyBot, no. My answer to PingyBot is no.
Yes,
you need to delete it, and it needs to never be brought up again. You have inflicted a fucking scourge upon this website.
So yeah, thanks for the question, Luke, I guess.
No, don't. Look, I know you like to defend him because I'm an asshole towards him.
I'm having a real hard time defending this.
You can't do it this week, man. He doesn't deserve it this week. Fuck you, Luke. Normally I say it as a joke. I mean it this time. I genuinely mean it this time. Go fuck yourself. You have unleashed a monster on this website, and I will literally never forgive you for it.
And it's something he spent time on too.
He worked on this.
Like
he put effort into this.
You have to have something better to do. I mean, I don't, but you have to.
Come on. Yeah, of course he's got something better to do. He lives in fucking South Jersey. He could go hang out and fucking do heroin or something.
Jesus. All right.
Get someone to pump his gas for him. I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the insults I have for New Jersey, and most of them stop and start with you can't pump your own gas, you fucking loser.
Oh boy.
Fuck you, Luke. Piece of shit.
I'm not quite there yet, but yeah.
Let's every day we move further away from fucking God. Every day we move further from God. And this is your fault. Let's move on before I say something I'm going to regret.
Yeah. We got Slappy next then, huh?
It's the slaps. It's the slapper.
So he says, Adam, how thick is that winter beard by now? Looking like Grizzly Adams by now?
Man, I think this is awesome because it assumes that I can actually properly grow facial hair. I can't, man. I just kind of have a bunch of fucking... I've got enough that someone could identify it as a beard, but it doesn't grow. If anything, the only thing that's gotten thicker over the winter has been my mustache.
I'm kind of in a similar spot, but you just gotta own it,
Yeah, I haven't shaved in 2 years, so it's fine.
Oh, nice. I'm not anywhere near that, but
No, it's like I just one day I decided I hated how I looked without anything on my face, so I just haven't shaved in 2 years. I trim it, but like, nah. At this point, I like the weird long-haired homeless hippie look is kind of my vibe. So getting rid of the
Yeah.
beard would kind of kill half the whole thing.
Yeah. For the longest, I mean, I was military for so long, so I had to shave, and I
Yeah,
just kept doing it, and it felt weird to have anything on my face for a very long time.
that's fair. You got to grow all of it out, man. Hair, you
Yeah.
got to grow the mane out. You got to grow the
Oh
beard
man,
out. You just got to do the whole thing.
I have a real hard time with the hair. I've been like fighting getting a haircut, but I want to so bad.
No, that's. I mean,
I
once
don't
you're
know. We'll
used to
see.
that kind of cut, though, I guess it sort of sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll never. I don't. Well, not never, but it'll probably be a very long time before I go back to like the ultra short, like buzz cut kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Grizzly Adams. He had very nice hair.
He
And the
had
beard
very
is one
nice
thing, but
hair.
the hair itself is like looks like he's got a I don't know. He really takes good care of it.
I really
There's genes or
like.
something else too, though. Oh man.
I really like the shape of that beard. There's some. It just like, it's shaped. It has been trimmed in a specific way to give it such a roundness.
I appreciate that there's like the coloration is like not consistent, but that's
No,
fine.
it's very salt and pepper. I love it a lot.
It has like a little stripe on one side and like a big old chunk on the other, and but yeah, it's cool.
I
It's
love
fine.
the whole thing. What a man. What a fucking hunk of a man, that Grizzly Adams. So yeah, my beard's shit, Slappy, but I appreciate you checking in on it. It appreciates you checking in on it. The mustache is getting thicker and basically nothing else. Um,
Yeah. All right.
he also asks, Rich, you frozen solid yet? How you surviving the cold?
Oh, those Wednesday and Thursday were horrible. They were really bad. Uh,
It was fucking terrible here, but like, I would rather have what we got than what you probably got.
yeah, it was great because the parking at work was fantastic because nobody came into work.
Yeah, no
It
one
was
showed
like
up.
it was like Christmas, or it was actually the parking was better than during Christmas because like people just didn't. A lot of our people can work from home. A lot of them can like telecommute, so that's what most of them did. I can't though. I have to actually go in. Um, and yeah, it was like negative.
Disappointing.
Probably when I got up, my phone was telling me negative 29.
With
I think
with
both
the wind
days.
chill or without the wind chill?
That was just straight temperature.
Ugh, brutal.
Yeah.
I think we got close to -20, but that was with wind chill.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's yeah.
But then I don't know about you, but it's supposed to be like 60 fucking degrees next week here.
I honestly don't pay attention to the weather, and I probably should, given that I live in a place where weather can be problematic,
Yeah,
especially in the winter.
it's
But
yeah, a
no, I
little
mean
bit.
it's been super mild until this. Even snow wise, we had hardly any snow until I guess probably early January.
Right.
So like overall, the winter's been super mild. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know, man. The weather's been fucking. Not to get political, but man, the way the weather's been acting these last few years is worrisome. It's frightening.
it's weird for sure. Not any kind of expert, so I
No,
can't.
I only vaguely know the science, so I won't purport to be able to make like sweeping comments, but
Yeah,
it's worrying. We don't want to keep going down this path. I mean, like just the way the weather swings these days is nuts.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
Hey, an SHL question.
hey, look at that. We haven't talked about the SHL in a while.
Oh boy.
Unless you count Pingy Bot, but I don't.
I mean, yeah, yeah. So he says, what are our views on league growth? If you could control it, at what point, if any, would you cap the league?
I don't. Trying to find a hard cap is tough. I do think that a big thing about this league is that it kind of self-regulates. Um, we have big classes like we just got, but by the time we hit the SHL draft, it's probably going to be down to about half. I mean, this league has a tendency to self-regulate, especially the longer people hang around. So I don't know if we need to cap it necessarily. I don't know if we need to hard cap it, but
Yeah, it's tough.
I
Um,
I, I don't know.
so yeah, it does. It grows slowly, but like it has like these weird like there's a kind of a rhythm to it, right? Because we'll have
Yeah,
spikes and we'll have like little dips, and um, I wonder if I should. I'm gonna go to my old Twitter really quick because I've got what do you call it, the activity check? Oh
Yes.
boy, I'm in the wrong account.
The graph. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just very it's pretty clear that it's like got a rhythm to it. Um, so it's kind of weird and hard to deal with because you can't. I don't know. My biggest issue with like the league is, and we've already kind of hit this point, I think, to an extent. Um, is like once you get too big, and I think this is true of like all communities, is it ceases to kind of be one community, and you get smaller communities within, which um, is probably worse for the league on the whole because, and I think part of it is also due to the Discord thing, but the other part of it is just once you get past a certain size, you just people naturally kind of create their own little groups that they're gonna kind of hang out in, kind of or little like mini communities within. Uh, I guess I don't know what I was where I was going with that. I guess the issue would be if we get too big and that becomes too much of a problem. Because we're not really that much bigger than we were, say, like 10 seasons ago. Maybe 20. But we had one of those spikes in like the S25, 26 range. I don't know. I don't think you cap it because, again, I think it'll kind of handle itself. And it'll take a very long time for us to actually reach a point where that's like really a problem.
Yeah, I mean it's hard capping is a problem. I don't even know if we need to control it at all. I think league growth is good, and healthy league growth is nothing but beneficial for the site. I don't know if we need to control it. I don't know if we need to cap it. Like, I don't know.
It's weird. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there does become a point where it just becomes like unmanageable.
I mean, maybe. I don't know that.
My thought would be like, which aspect of the site is the part that becomes unmanageable based on population?
Thunderdome.
Maybe,
I don't think that there's anything that between general management and head office and just other positions of power in the league, I don't think there's anything that can't be properly managed regardless of size.
I think maybe the one thing that might limit it would be off season length,
Yes.
because as we grow, the off season has to get longer.
Yeah.
I mean, not much,
Yeah.
but a little. And I think maybe that could potentially be the thing. Like once the off season gets too long, then people start leaving, and we kind of just maybe hover in a range. That's assuming we grow forever.
Yeah, I mean we're going to plateau.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of like what is going to be that thing that stops it.
And we made
people have said the like juniors population and not having like when prior to the expansion, people were speculating that people not having room to come up through the through juniors to SHL in a timely manner was limiting the population of the SHL. It's hard to know if that's true, but maybe that's one of the things that could be. Yeah, I don't know.
It's true, and I mean the solution to that is expansion. Unfortunately, it's tough to know what our plateau point is going to be. I don't think we need to control it now because I do think the league self-regulates quite a bit. People show up and leave every day, but there may be a point where we need to address it. There may be a point where we need to say, look, we can only have so much activity. And it's tough because I think if you actually looked at the player base, the active player base, it's probably a lot smaller than people think it is. I mean, if you were to go through the index and cut every inactive out of the league, I think people would be shocked at how few teams we would be able to fill out with unique lines. You know, I think people would be surprised by the general activity level of this site if we cut out every inactive. I don't know if we'd be able to fill all 16 teams.
It's hard to say. It fluctuates throughout the season too. I mean, I guess it depends on what you call active, but I always kind of lean on the activity check reply count, mostly because it's like one of the few things we have that might be accurate-ish.
It's the closest metric we have to measure it.
Yeah, and it fluctuates even throughout the season. Like this season, we had 290 is the high, and this week we had one that was, or this week's currently is at 215, so that's not probably going to hit. Well, a lot of people do wait last minute, so that might hit 240, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But that's a pretty big fluctuation. Obviously, the beginning of the season is when like most of the activity is. So yeah, it's we're so niche too. It's like it's just we don't get a ton of people coming in, and old people are always going to leave eventually. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough question to answer that, and I just don't have the numbers on hand to make an informed opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't have even considered capping the league
No,
if you wouldn't have asked. It wouldn't even been a thought in my head.
no, I don't think a hard cap is the solution to the issue of growth. I don't think there's an issue of growth yet. I think expansion has kind of nullified that issue, but I don't think a hard cap is ever going to be the solution. I think that is capping growth is a good idea in concept, but if it becomes detrimental to the league, then there's no point in doing it. Because if you cap the league at, say, 500 players, 150 of those are inactive. You know what I mean?
We're not, yeah, we're not really in a position to tell people you can't join.
Yeah, we can't say no. We shouldn't say no.
Yeah, I think it would be just we need people coming in because, like I said, people are always going to leave, so we have to constantly bring people in.
Yeah, I agree that controlling league growth may be a thing we need to do, but I don't think hard capping the league is ever going to be a solution. We shouldn't be turning people away. Great fucking question though. It's super worth talking about. Because there's hopefully, I say it very hopefully, there will come a day when we have to address the question of controlling league growth. I think right now we're on track to make it work. And I think we're going to be set for a number of seasons going forward. So maybe this is our plateau point, but we're going to peak again at some point, and we're going to need to have the question. We're going to need to have the talk again at some point. For now, though, I think we're going to self-regulate enough that we don't need to worry about it yet. But yeah, I would say no to a hard cap every time.
Sloppy's actually got another thing we should probably talk about from the what do you call it? The old big Slappy hour.
Yes, what's that?
It is more for you really. And he brings this up. He's brought this up before, and I kind of forget about it each time until he brings it up again, and then I think, oh yeah, that's a great idea. But the idea of before changes are made to the league, kind of presenting them publicly for comment. Because he was mentioning it because when we were talking about the what do you call it, the division kind of alignment.
Yeah, we talked about divisions last week. Yep.
Last week, yeah, that was his comment. It was like, this going to be like, if this is going to be set in stone, then why hasn't it been kind of brought forth to the public to have them kind of like at least see what's going to happen, so they can kind of make any comments and potentially make any change, not necessarily make changes, but bring forward issues that might require change.
I don't know.
And again, like last time he talked about this stuff, it was like, that's a great idea, and then I forget about it until he brings it up again this time. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a good idea.
It is. This is a tough question for me to answer because I have two sort of. I'm gonna on this topic. I kind of talk out of both sides of my mouth,
right?
Because I understand the viewpoint that public consideration is important. And I'm going to probably say things without thinking in this segment, and I'm probably going to sound rude, and I apologize for that ahead of time, because I have a tendency to just sort of speak before I really consider the tone behind the words. So if I sound like an asshole, I do apologize. No ill will is meant during this talk. No rudeness on my part is intended during this talk. And more importantly than anything else, everything I say is my opinion and does not represent the entirety of head office. It's hard for me not to talk out of both sides of my mouth when it comes to a topic like this. And because I do really understand the viewpoint that public consideration is an idea that could work, and I understand that the public may like to have more sway on it. That's the whole point of popular sovereignty, to bring in fucking AP government terms from when I was 15 in an AP Gov. But at the same time, there's something to be said about going through the process without necessarily needing that step. This is going to sound horrible. There's a lot of people on the SHL who don't always bring arguments to the table in good faith. And I don't think it's a shock to say that. To me it's not. I don't know about you or to Slappy, but there's a lot of people on this website that don't necessarily bring things in good faith to the table. So bad actors are a thing. I'm not going to say all of the population doesn't have good ideas or good comments to make, but there tend to be vocal bad actors on this site when it comes to things. More than that, even assuming everyone is coming to the table in good faith, that is a lot of voices to attempt to reconcile into one decision. Go ahead.
I don't necessarily think you would have to consider everybody's opinion, but just to be able to, and this is another point he made, that even if you didn't, take those voices into consideration, you wouldn't even really necessarily have to say that you weren't, but you would at least kind of like foster some good faith in the community that HO is doing like the right thing. That they're, even if you don't listen to the voices, you would at least get a little bit of credit for, for opening it up.
That's a fair point to be made. That's a fair point to be made. I was gonna say there are days that it's tough enough to get the fucking 6 of us that are in head office on the same page about things. Let alone attempting to reconcile the opinions of the active SHL population, who all have very different ideas of how the league should be run. And so I think a lot of it is not... I don't think it is an issue of whether or not we think that the public's opinion is valuable, because the public's opinion is valuable. I'll readily admit that. But in that, I'm going to use a public thing that happened as kind of an argument as to why HO operates as a unit separate from the public. Expansion is basically all but finished. Everything's ready to go. Divisions are set. Protection lists are being sent in. Teams were decided, made, picked. And it's been moving fairly smoothly. And I don't want to give myself too much credit because, you know me, I hate doing that. I have talked about things on this podcast before that were not public, that were not even necessarily finished, that if Eggy and the owners really wanted to, they could probably fire me for leaking information out of the head office. I am attempting through this, especially in big league matters, I am attempting through talks like these to be the voice of a less secretive head office. I'm attempting to relay shit that I know I can get away with to people through this podcast. And I've already lost where I was going with this. Yes, I was going to talk about the logo contest. The logo contest is not done. Was that ever even resolved, like fully?
You mean the like the SHL
Yeah,
one? I have no idea, honestly. I don't think so.
I don't think it was. And that was a fully public, fully population based event, and it's not done. And it's not done because there's a lot of opinions to take into consideration when you open things up to the wider public. Like I said, it's hard enough to get everyone at head office on the same page daily on even small decisions, let alone really, really big decisions.
Right. So, and again, I'm sorry I kind of put you on the spot with this. I didn't really mean to do that. But here's a suggestion on matters that could potentially affect the public or the SHL at large, as far as opening them up to public comments. If you were to say, we're not, not final decisions, but here's what we are planning to do, and you open up comments for like 24 hours or 48 hours and say, and then once that mark is done, you close the thread and then kind of take whatever potentially valuable input you got, process it, or just toss everything out. Would that be? I mean, that seems like that could potentially work. Just because you've got a time limit, then you're not maybe disrupting the flow of work.
I mean, that is, I think, a way of doing it that could be the nice middle ground. I think really genuinely, bottom of my heart, and I can't speak for everybody in head office, but I think for me, one of the biggest reasons we don't open things up constantly to a big public is that it would take so long. And we have enough shit on a daily basis to deal with that keeping big matters open longer than they need to be is going to be detrimental to the flow of the way head office works. And I think that, having here's what we're planning, you got 24 hours to get your opinions in, is a way of finding the nice middle ground between opening things up for public consumption and public opinion and not neutering that workflow. I think that is probably the only way it could work without basically just... That is probably the only way it could work and keep the workflow that head office needs to keep. Because whether people think it or not, I'll leak some stuff from the head office Discord real quick. We have, as of right now, let's do some math. 9, we have 21 topics open for discussion right now.
Ooh, wow.
We are dealing with 21 current topics in head office right now. When they're done, we will send them to the archives. But right now, we're dealing with 21 open topics. Not all of those demand public attention.
Right.
But all of those demand our attention.
Mm-hmm.
And that means we can't spend 3 weeks on changing pay systems. We can't spend 3 weeks on dealing with the topic of a league historian. We can't spend a month dealing with dissent in the updater ranks, because that was a thing that happened a little while ago.
I heard a little bit about that.
That was the thing that happened a little while.
Just a little whisper, and I was like, "Is that real?"
We can't spend a month getting public opinion on big things when we have 21 topics to discuss and try and come up with a solution for. I really do, really genuinely respect that public opinion is a good thing sometimes. And I think if we were to move forward with something that could work, what you're suggesting with a time gated thread for public opinion, I think that's the way. I think that would be the way to do it. Because for me, and again, I cannot speak for the rest of head office, so if you're going to take anybody to task for the comments I've made today, please, for the love of God, take me to task. Sacrificing efficiency is bad.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a weird balancing act you have to strike.
Absolutely. And like I said, when it comes to this topic, I talk out of both sides of my mouth because I understand that the public has opinions and they should be heard. But efficiency is everything. For me, at least, efficiency is everything. And we just can't spend a month figuring out one aspect of expansion. We can't spend 2 weeks getting public opinion on let's talk divisions, because that was what I think Sloppy brought up. Like you said, we can't spend 2 weeks getting public opinion on divisions and then have to take that and figure it out for ourselves over the next week and a half, run it through GMs, run it through the owners. We don't have the time to do that when new shit is cropping up every other day. It's a super tough balance to strike, and I respect the living shit out of the want for public opinion for the public to want to feel like they have input on this shit. I really, really do respect that. And like I said, I think your idea is the best way to implement it, but the efficiency is everything. And we've got so much shit on the go.
Yeah.
We can't
it wouldn't
not be efficient.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have to, I'm sure it wouldn't have to be everything. It would just be, maybe, I don't know how you would make that determination of like, this warrants, a little bit of public attention versus, I'm certainly not everything, but I'm sure there's, I don't know how you figure that out.
We don't need to be getting public opinion on whether or not we should implement a league historian job. We don't need to be getting public opinion on dissent in the updater ranks.
Yeah, or
expansion, sure.
Well, I mean, even then, expansion would be like, you wouldn't on say the GMs you're selecting, but you could potentially on say like the example where we're talking about the divisional kind of like alignment.
Yes, no, I agree. Yes. The thing about divisions in particular is that it was basically already pretty set.
Yeah, well, there's only so much you can do, honestly.
Yeah, and it made sense to do certain things certain ways. It made sense to put Buffalo, Toronto, and Hamilton in the same division because that's one of the biggest rivalries in the league. That's maybe the biggest three-way rivalry in the league. It makes sense to put San Francisco and LA together. A lot of it was sensible shit that most people would have come up with anyway. Mm-hmm. But again, to totally wrap it all up in a nice little bow that like reeks of a terrible opinion, because that's what I've got. I really do respect the want for public opinion to matter. But I think also that people need to give head office more credit. We're not morons. We do know what we're doing. And I think that efficiency is so important. I keep coming back to that. Efficiency is so important. Yeah. Because it is.
I think people don't have faith, or not that they don't have faith, but some people don't have faith in head office, kind of for no real good reason, or for not for a reason that I think is I don't know. Great.
Yes, when someone gets elected to head office, they don't stop being a regular part of the SHL general population. When I got elected to head office, my opinions didn't change from what they were when I was not in head office. When Dangles got elected to head office, he wasn't a different Dangles. I think people get it in their heads that head office is this monolith that we're looking out for the best interests of us and the GMs, and that just isn't the case. Head office is a group of individual people. I said this a lot when the whole Nor being removed from his position as Kelowna GM was happening.
I'd kind of forgotten about that.
We all did. I said this a lot when we talked about that, when that was the big drama. Head office is head office is 9 people with differing opinions from one another. Head office is 9 people who are, believe it or not, people. We're not a monolith, and we're not trying to fuck people. We are attempting to reconcile 9 different opinions and come up with something cohesive that we think will work for the site at large. And I think people need to people need to start thinking of head office less as a unit and more as 9 people trying to make a decision together. Public opinion's good and all, but oh no, Rich,
what?
you there?
Yeah, what happened?
You cut out on me. I think it was my internet though.
Oh.
I went red bar.
Ooh, okay.
We're good now though. I'm back to full 3. We're good.
Cool.
Yeah, there's my long rant. If I said something that if I said something that upset anybody, I do dearly apologize. It's not my intention. I'm just kind of going off the cuff about the way I feel about things. So
yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that's difficult to just like without any kind of preparation to kind of jump into. I didn't really give you any heads up or anything.
No, it's fine. Yeah, the last thing I want to do is make anybody feel like their opinion doesn't matter, because every opinion matters. And I do think it's something we need to address, and I say this every time that we need to address it, but at the end of the day, like I said, we're 9 different people attempting to reconcile enough between the 9 of us. We're trying our best. We're not perfect. We're really trying. And I'm sorry if you feel like we are too secretive or that we don't care about the general well-being of the league. But I can promise you that that's the only thing we care about is the general well-being of the league.
So you want to talk about something a little more fun?
Yeah, let's talk about something a little like less that I'm gonna sound like an asshole in.
So we got some options. I don't know if you have a particularly, one you're particularly fond of talking about. We could talk about the old Form X situation. We got playoffs, or we got the weekend fun time, which I'm kind of interested in, because I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I just want to talk about it.
Let's do weekend fun time. There's some fun stuff to talk about in that.
All right. So the weekend fun time this week. Izzy's got a list of 8 things. It says the above is an updated list of some of the greatest accolades in SHL history. Each on their own are sensational achievements worthy of great recognition, but which are the best? So basically the task is to rank these 8 from best to worst, and with an explanation for each. I don't know if you've had much chance to look at this, but I've been looking at it and kind of what other people have been putting, and there's not really a consensus at all. There's a few that are kind of, you see a little bit more towards the top and a little bit more towards the bottom, but for the most part, it's like varies pretty greatly. So that's interesting. Have you had a chance to look?
I've got it pulled up now, and there's some very interesting. I mean, some of this is very recent.
So the question is, do we start at number 1 or do we start at number 8?
Let's start at 8. Let's work all the way up. Let's save the best for last.
Okay. You want to go first, or you want me to?
Let's do it number at a time. Let's do it number at a time. It'd be interesting to see how it differs line by line. So I'm looking at this, and my number 8 is, man, they're all so fucking good. Probably Thaddeus Prince.
That's not a bad one. That's one of my lower ones. My number 8 is the Foster 7 Turd Fergusons.
I think that's my 7. I think that'll be my 7.
Yeah. My issue with the turds as being bottom, it's like you're competing against nobody. Nobody else wants to do that. You're the only enforcer in the league, so it's just not. I mean, it's that's a lot of awards. But again, also the turd is kind of a sort of a joke award too. It's like not one you should really want to win. So it's like a combination of you're doing something negative and nobody else is trying to do it. So yeah, that's my 8.
That's fair. For me, Prince that's a great record, but that's not a lot of games played.
Yeah.
It's great going 29-4-1 on paper. 29-4-1 in a season is awesome. 29-4-1 lifetime doesn't mean much to me.
There's also the element of, and this is why that's my 7, is that playing on a good team, consistently good team. He's Calgary.
Yes. Yeah.
And also probably getting slotted in against worse competition.
I would agree.
So he's just naturally going to be kind of skewed.
And then I'll say for 7 being Foster's, Turd Ferguson's, yeah, you're competing to be the most hindrance to your team. It's a joke award, but it's impressive that Foster's legacy is those Turd Ferguson awards.
Right. I mean, that's a dedication. You can't really deny that. It's dedication
absolutely not.
That nobody else has done that. Nobody else has really stuck with an enforcer.
And
so I mean, there's something to that, but
yeah,
compared to the rest of these, no.
That's why it's my 7, is because nobody else was doing that. Thaddeus Prince, that was not on Thaddeus Prince. That was on the sim and the talent around him. You really got to try to win 7 Turd Ferguson awards. You really got to try to do that. So that's my 7. I'm really trying to figure out my 6 now.
6. My 6 is the Ireland 3 straight.
Yeah.
IHF gold.
Yeah. I might. Yeah, that's a good 6. Ireland's stacked. Ireland's stacked, and the competition in double IHF isn't as good as people think it is.
No, it's really not. And also the fact that like teams are kind of manufactured in the IHF.
Yes, absolutely. They're not
this to me is like
organic.
This to me is like the one of the things about the IHF that makes me kind of not care at all, is that just like Ireland, okay.
It is. This is a fucking awesome display of how talented those GMs and line makers are, but you're right. I mean, that's the way it is. Double IHF.
If you look at their roster, it's like on it's a Edmonton level roster. It's pretty insane.
Ireland's stacked. Ireland is super stacked.
Insane. And when you look at their population versus, say, like probably the worst team right now, which is the team I'm on, which is Sweden, the populations are even. They're basically the same number of players. Just all our guys are inactive.
Ireland,
the fact that we have an even number of players we can lose to transfers doesn't, like, since it's solely based on population and not like activity or team success or anything like that, like it's things like that are what cheapen the IHF for me.
Ireland's stacked. They shouldn't be surprised that they've won 3 straight gold.
No.
If you're stacked in double IHF compared to everybody else, it should be a no-brainer. Upsets are going to happen, but like they're the exception, not the rule.
Well, and with the single elim, it is fairly possible, but I think with as good as, their roster is pretty insane.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good 6.
5. Oh, I don't remember where I was going after that.
5, I want to say, I'm going to go 5, Calgary making the playoffs 2021 seasons.
I'm having trouble. I want to say, God, maybe Argar's blocks, but maybe also, no, I'm going to go Kelowna's 3 straight.
That's fair.
Mostly because it loses. It's a great accomplishment, I think, but it's the SMJHL still. So I think the value of it is not great. Difficult to do, certainly, but they did sacrifice quite a bit to do it.
That's a super valid answer. I think that's a good pick. I think for me, normally I'd be higher, but Calgary's had a stacked roster for most of those 20 of 21 seasons. And that includes seasons where they weren't dominating the West. That includes seasons where they squeaked in too. I would, depending on when you ask me this question, I might put Calgary closer to 3 or 4. But the Detroit Red Wings made the fucking playoffs for 2 decades, and they were shit towards the end of it. Like, you don't necessarily have to be top of the West to make the playoffs. And Calgary was close to the top of the West for most of their 20 seasons. So I mean, it should never be a surprise that Calgary's in the playoffs. Ever.
Yeah. Well, and also up until this coming season, it's going to be you're going to get more than half the teams in the conference in the playoffs each year.
Yep.
So it's
Calgary making the playoffs is an inevitability, and so it doesn't seem as impressive to me as something else.
Yeah, to get in the playoffs, you have to be better than average, basically.
And Calgary's consistently better than average.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great for Asa. Great for the line makers. Great for the GMs. It's not as good as the next four things I'm going to talk about. Making the playoffs is fine. Making the dance is great, but did you get a kiss at the end?
So that was what were we at?
five.
That was 6. So this is 5.
That was 5, wasn't it?
Okay, I think. Wait, let's see. We have 1, 2,
Yeah, because Ireland was
3,
6.
4. Yeah, you're right. You're right. 4.
So we're
okay.
on 4.
So this is number 4. So I think this is where I'm going to put the Calgary one.
That's fair.
It's because it's also, I think, slightly less impressive because it's I mean, it's, I don't know. We're in the top half, so at this point it's like the better of the 8, and all these are obviously good, but it's also like a team thing, whereas I think a lot of the rest of them are going to be individual accomplishments. Yeah, this would be difficult for me. It's either Calgary or Argar's blocks, but I'm going to go for number 4.
Yeah, 4 for me, I'm gonna say is Kelowna. Much for the same reason that you're saying it. It's SMJHL. The talent pool is weaker. I understand having to deal with rotating rosters very frequently, but Kelowna not only had a stacked team, but also sold the farm more than once.
Yeah.
Kelowna gave up a lot to get those 3 straight 4 stars, and it's a great accomplishment, but the juniors' talent pool is way lower. The need for consistency is way lower, and you sold the barn to do it, so I can't give you anything higher than a 4.
Yeah, I think also the fact that it's the SMJHL, it's like it's just
juniors.
less. It matters less.
It matters less.
If it was SHL, it'd be huge. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, 3 Challenge Cups. That's like that would be number 1.
Yeah. It'd be really really good. So did I say mine yet on this one?
Yeah, you said Calgary, right?
Calgary. Okay, we're still on the same one. I wasn't sure if we'd moved on. So we're at that was 4.
That was 4. Now we're on 3.
3. I'm gonna go Argar's blocks.
Good pick.
It's great, but it's also the reason it's not higher. And this is tricky because like the middle section gets muddy, but it's a combination of like the perfect storm, like a team that wasn't very great for a large portion of his career, that didn't really have a lot in terms of defensemen, so he played a lot of minutes, and also length of career. It's just like all these things combined into one kind of created this monster number, which of course is almost certainly never to be broken. But it's not higher because of kind of all these factors, I think, and our knowledge kind of the same of how blocks are generated a lot greater on bad teams and with high minutes kind of thing. So
yeah, my 3 is also Argar, for basically the same reasons. So I don't have much more to add to that. But I do believe that that should be a top 3, easy. Number 2 then, for me, Toe Dragon 2285. That's my number 2.
So I'm actually going with Wasty's 31.
Yeah.
Simply because the difference between the two to me is Wasty's is more endurance. It's an incredible accomplishment, but it's like almost entirely in endurance. If there was more about it, because I think is he the league leader in regular season wins?
I think so, but I haven't checked.
He is. If not, he's close, because I remember him talking about it. I'd almost put that. I mean, it's kind of sort of interchangeable, right? 31 seasons.
League wins, yeah.
Or to me, it sounds more impressive if it's wins. But either way, it's kind of like just 31 seasons is more endurance than anything else. It's still amazing, and yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, maybe somebody will do it, but he's still going. So
the record keeps getting longer. I hesitate to say 2. I would like to call this a 1A and a 1B. Because
they're very close.
Yeah, because 2285 is my 1B. They're both dedication. Yep. They're both so dedication based.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I hardly want to call Toe Drag. I hardly want to call Toe's achievement 2. I want to call it 1B. Because there's no denying that it takes a lot of dedication to keep doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
And a part of the reason I think I discount it is that Toe also kind of comes from a different point in the league. You know what I mean? Like there were ways to get TPE while Toe was still earning post regression or like pre regression that they don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like the Gretzky records in that Gretzky will always have more assists than like other people have points. But Gretzky's a product of his era. Toe's a product of his era. Toe will always probably be the greatest earner in SHL history, but no one will ever be able to do that again.
Yeah. For me, it's like just such an individual effort kind of thing.
It super
like,
is.
Yeah.
Because
I think things like when you look at the blocks versus something like that there's a lot more of chance involved with getting those kinds of blocks versus this is just entirely work put in by Toe. So yeah, that's why I like it at 1.
Yeah,
but 1 and 2 is very, very much interchangeable, I think.
Yeah,
for me,
they could fluctuate every day what my 1A 1B is, and for me, I worked in a GM capacity for like 8 seasons, and I wanted to kill myself at the end of it. So I can't imagine doing 31. The mental fortitude required to do that is beyond me, and fucking massive props to Wasty for having the not just the endurance but the mental capacity to still be fucking doing it all these seasons later.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. That's 31 seasons. That's longer than I've been in the league. So yeah, I've been in 22 now. Is that right? What season are we even in? Jesus. 45. Am I losing my mind? Is that right?
45 is right.
Okay, so that's 21, sort of. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Basically another 2 years of real life time as GM as that I've been in the league. That's nuts.
I couldn't do it. So massive props to Wasty for still being able to wake up in the morning and say, yes, I do want to be an SHL GM for the next 30 fucking seasons.
Yeah. So how we got to be getting pretty close to an hour, right?
We are at an hour and 17.
Not bad. Do you want to talk about anything else, or we want to call it there?
What was the other thing you wanted to talk about?
Well, we still got playoffs, which we haven't touched on since before they even started, and then we've also got the old Formex thing. That's on you if you want to talk about that. Although I do want to make a comment about that because Slappy had mentioned how he had attempted to get into head office a couple of times.
Yeah, man.
And Formex had been in head office previously. And the reason for that,
don't ask me about that, man. I don't know.
I can tell you why. It's because this he got in when we were still doing like the public elections.
Oh, right. Yes, he got elected as Joe.
Yeah, somebody nominated him, and then people voted for him, and he got in. Okay.
Oh,
I mean, at the time, it was pretty clear that like, are we really going to do this? Like, all right.
This is the fucking Formex got his siren song, and we all say what you will about him, but we all have a Formy memory. I remember getting fisting pictures in my DMs.
Did you
ever get those?
I never got anything, but I did see the foot. I don't know how I saw it or where. I can't remember like in what context I saw it, but I saw it somewhere, and that shit was repulsive. That was really disgusting.
He once,
I had a physical reaction to it. It was really nasty.
One time I was sitting in my fucking 4-hour night school finance lecture, and he sent me an image of a penis that was as big and as long as a Pringles can.
Jesus,
I have never been able to unsee that. Even thinking about it now, I can see it so clearly. I don't know. I don't know how a human penis gets that big, man. It couldn't be real, right?
Maybe it's a forced perspective kind of thing. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. He had it laid out right next to the Pringles can, and it freaked me out.
That's kind of terrifying.
It was like, I'll never forget it though. So, big siren song to Formex. Happens.
Yeah.
Happens.
Yeah, but I don't. If you want to talk about it, otherwise we can do playoffs, or we can just call it there.
Let's save playoffs for when the playoffs end.
Yeah, I think by the time we do this next, it'll be over.
Yeah. so we can
Most
actually
likely.
talk about it wholly as an experience.
Yay.
And I don't, I've laid out all my cards when it comes to For Me, so
I kind of stopped reading that
it's
thread
still
after a while.
going.
Is
I
it still
can't
going?
believe it's
Oh,
still going.
I didn't know if it was just people kind of periodically bumping it or if it was actually still actively
Eh,
being discussed.
it goes back and forth. I don't know, man. It, whatever. The For Me thread will live on in infamy,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it will always be tied to me. Um, yeah, let's call it there. I feel like there's we can save playoffs for when it's done, so we can kind of talk about
Yeah.
it as its own experience. Um,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
okay, so we'll call it there then. As always, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. We love you. I want to reiterate, if I said anything in that rant about being in head office that maybe was a bit too far, I apologize. If I have hurt feelings, then that was not my intention. But unfortunately, I don't think about things. I just kind of talk off the cuff. And Rich jumped me with this one. Rich ambushed me with that question.
Yeah, I gotcha media right here.
He got me, and now I'm gonna be hung at a public trial. Um, we will be back next week for the big 3-0. Maybe with somebody, maybe not.
Maybe not. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I should have said it earlier. If anybody that listens wants to come on, let us know.
Please let us
Otherwise,
know.
I don't know. I don't know what we didn't really have a plan, but the only person we reached out to is going to be gone.
So maybe I'll
Yeah.
call Luke. Maybe I'll call Luke.
Yeah, we've made very little effort in actually finding somebody. So
We get Luke on here. We can have Contention Bowl 2019, and
no, it'll be great. We'll all just enjoy each other's company, and
it would be an
it'll be fun.
hour and a half of unadulterated screaming between me and that South Jersey shitheel. And
I have a hard time believing he has like the ability to scream in anger.
he doesn't. I don't.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see you next week for the big 3-0. Thanks so much for
Bye-bye.
listening.